ピース行くぞ
Luffy is dying. Have I caught your attention? With all the times that Luffy has shortened his lifespan via the Gears forms and Imperial Vankov's hormones and such, doesn't seem like he's being set up to die at the end of the story. If you don't believe me, then here are some reminders. During the Ennis Lobby arc, Rob Lucci pointed out that Luffy's Gear 2nd is shortening his life by using it as he strained his body to another level. In Impelled Down, during that fight, Luffy started hitting Magellan but only injuring himself with Magellan's Hydra. He also breathed out a poison cloud into the air, which made Luffy weaker and weaker until he couldn't fight anymore. His body started failing him and he couldn't move. Magellan covered Luffy's body with Hydra and told him he only had 24 hours to live. After the incident with Magellan, Luffy was being cured by Imperial Vankov by giving him the healing hormones alongside tension hormones. The healing hormone cuts 10 years lifespan on the receiver, so Luffy had 10 years removed from him. During the time skip, whilst in Resukena, Luffy managed to master Gear 2nd and 3rd. Luffy used his 2nd gear for a short period, just 0 seconds than before, as he knows it takes a lot of energy and he couldn't use that energy for Gear 4th when encountering deadly opponents. Now you're starting to understand. A lot of these One Piece theories think that Oda might do something like that to draw his parallel to the way Goldie Roger died. Roger became king and died shortly afterwards. As we've seen before with Goldie Roger and Whitebeard's death, Luffy surely has to die, the same way with a big smile on his face, visiting Laughdale, seeing what the One Piece is and yell out that the One Piece is real just before his final breath. It would be so heartbreaking if he became the Pirate King and died shortly afterwards. Then the counter for this theory would be that even if Luffy develops the disease, he has Chopper. This is why I think Chopper will really test his medical skills if Luffy becomes sick like Roger and cures him. Something he said, he will be able to cure any disease. That would be epic in a way that Chopper will achieve his dream by curing Luffy, but that is not answering the fact that Luffy is still shortening his lifespan by using his gears. 4 years ago I touched on this topic that Luffy's awakening will involve his surrounding like a bouncy castle effect, but after understanding more about Luffy and his traits, I came up with a better understanding of what his awakening could be and will surely slow the process of Luffy dying. Hi everyone, Flying Panda, the One Piece Theorist.
Luffy unlocks Awakening! The Rubber Devil Fruit Awakening revealed!
Before we start about Awakening, first we need to understand why Oda gave Luffy the Rubber Devil Fruit. There was a question in SBS 65 and thus got our answer. The question was, in the One Piece of these days, all kinds of strong ability users whom even Luffy can't compete with has been appearing, one after the other. In general, manga and anime, I feel that the protagonist is established to be the strongest of all, but why did you decide to turn Luffy into a pretty weak looking Rubber Devil Fruit user? And Oda Sensei's response was, it must seem like a mystery when you consider all the other strong and cool abilities. The answer is simple. I picked the most ridiculous ability. If the protagonist were a typical strong guy, I doubt I could continue on with this for long. No matter how serious the story gets, Luffy is there to stretch and inflate. He always gives me a chance to fool around. That's the kind of manga I wanted to write. With the comedy aspects of using the Rubber Fruit, I believe it's supposed to show ability and creativity, and that even though he started with a useless fruit, Luffy found a way to take out those that got the super powerful Devil Fruit with it. Luffy only uses Devil Fruit as a stretch power for the first 30 chapters or so. After that, all attacks were about taking advantage of it, instead of using it directly, like gathering energy or momentum and concentrating it. Then later he used it for Gear 2nd and so on, compared to Devil Fruits like Enel, whose attack would work right away. Compared to other typical shonen manga, Luffy is interesting because he starts off the series being quite strong, and it's thanks to Luffy's own strength that he was able to get this far and not his Devil Fruit. I think Luffy's lineage definitely has something to do with his strength, but mainly has to do with Garp's training methods. For instance, Garp most likely trained Dragon similarly to how he taught Luffy, and seeing how Dragon is now the world's most wanted man or leader of the revolutionary army, he definitely has to be strong and smart. Though he probably inherited intelligence from his mother, right? Then Garp trained Luffy and then sent him off to train with Ace, who he also taught, who also turned out to be strong. Then once Luffy left the island, Garp picked up Kobe and Helmeppo, who were really weak, and now look at them. Luffy was still getting used to fighting people who weren't immediately overwhelmed by his devil fruit abilities. In the beginning, he really favoured Gomu Gomu no Rocket, which took care of a bunch of enemies. He also used it in like every boss fight for ages. Strong opponents were able to react to that very predictable move, and before long, he used mostly other attacks, rarely using Rocket in combat. Now you understand that Luffy was strong from the beginning, and he only gets his real "I'm super weak in the scheme of things" moment in the post-marine arc, which led to the 2-year time skipped. And even with his Devil Fruit, he needs to charge all his attacks, and it takes creativity for Luffy to make use of his Devil Fruit, and as mentioned at the start of the video, with each transformation, it shortens Luffy's lifespan. Now with all this in mind, why would Luffy's awakening be different to how he has been progressing? You can understand now why my old bouncy castle awakening wouldn't work with Luffy's power and might be too overpowered. Like with my old theory, which you can check out first if you wanted to, making all Luffy's surrounding into a bouncy castle. This is clearly not how his Devil Fruit works. Only paramecia that generates something can make the surroundings their something. Luffy can't make more rubber, so why would it make sense for his awakening to work like the flamingos or katakuri? It doesn't at all. Paramecias are too different from each other to have one single awakening. How would Law's ability awaken? He can create more rooms? And no, it won't be like Katakuri. Luffy's not a transmitter because he cannot or does not change the properties of his body. His body is rubber. He has a transmitter type ability that changes the properties of his rubber, like Red Hawk and 4, and you can argue he's an emitter because of attacks like Gomu Gomu no Pistol, but Luffy's natural affinity is enhancements 100%. Luffy's true strength lies in his gears, which allow him to enhance his body. A true transmitter in the series would be Sanji because of Diablo Jumper. A true emitter would be like Zoro, for example his 1080 pound Phoenix. You have to think of Devil Fruits as an addition to natural likeliness. If Luffy had nothing, he would still be an enhancer. Luffy would never conjure or manipulate rubber, it doesn't even make sense. Why would he need to? He never uses the environment to his advantages, and his ability wouldn't make sense with a weapon. He would have to learn all new abilities to use it, and from what I've seen, imbuing ornament haki into weapons seems different than just coating your body into it. Besides, not including when Luffy has shadows in him, in Thriller Bark, Luffy really sucked with swords when he fought Arlong, and when he used it recently with the Daikatitsu. It would change him as a character too much, and Oda won't do that. Luffy would have much more of an advantage if he could emit rubber or transmute the shape with his rubber because he is inherently a melee class, brawler or enhancer. Now, time for my explanation of what I believe would be Luffy's awakening. It starts with the description of rubber. Rubber is made primarily from the extraction of milky latex. Latex as found in nature is milky fluid, polymer particles suspended in medium liquid, usually white but can be yellow, orange or scarlet, and some semi-transparent. It is a complex emulsion of mixes that clot when exposed to air and shown after tissue injury. Now to use this information to awakening abilities of Luffy. The kata-like abilities that milky white substance with the added benefits of One Piece physics turn back to solid rubber. Luffy has two states, can turn into liquid, natural latex, and back into solid rubber to maybe vulcanization. In addition, when injured, example Doflamingo's ability to stitch his organs, Luffy can also self-patch his injuries. This is all happening inside his body rather than happening to the environment surrounding him. When the creativity of the gear system already showing pretty incredible innovation, the main thing I can see Awakening him doing is allowing greater control over the shifting of his gears, maybe including a novelty reverse gear, and probably greater incorporation of his haki into his rubber attacks, something we already began to see with his Snake Man and his tracking fists, Python from Dressrosa. What if Luffy was just able to control his rubber body more optimally? Instead of blowing air into his bones or muscles, Gear 3rd and Gear 4th respectively, this would mean changing the size of his muscles fibers, for example to get a grounded Gear 4th. This could also lessen the weaknesses of Gear 3rd and 4th. He would be able to use a similar Gear 4th form without the risk of running out of Haki or shrinking from Gear 3rd use. This awakening doesn't strain his body and does not shorten his lifespan. Yes, you might think that it seems underwhelming, but this is One Piece and we can't have Luffy dramatically going too strong. Also, we have seen him getting stronger with his gears and with Haki infused attacks. Luffy's gears will now be like a base form for Luffy and also him healing faster, but at the same time with his awakening, this will help him reach Gear 5th. Wouldn't that be something amazing? The question still, is Luffy still dying at the end of One Piece? Well, that I cannot answer, but I can assure you that it won't be his own power that will kill him this time. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Please leave comments down below what you thought. Please click like, and if you haven't, please subscribe to Flying Panda, and of course, join our Discord. As you know, we got a Twitter account, meet us there. We got a Facebook, join us there. And also we got a Discord channel with over 2,000 members. We're a great admin team, great members. We always talk about our One Piece theories in this channel. We always talk about One Piece in general. We talk about films. We talk about games. So if you haven't already, see you there on the Discord channel.
Flying Panda. One thing, I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind, I designed this rhyme. Explain in due time. All I know, time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by as a pendulum swings. Watch it count down to the end of the day. The clock ticks life away, it's so unreal. Didn't look out below. What time fly through out the window. Trying to hold on, but didn't even know. I wasted it all just to watch you go. I kept everything inside, even though I tried. It all fell apart. What it meant to be will eventually be a memory of a time when I tried so hard. Flying Panda. Yeah. Flying Panda. Here we go now.